Hey everybody, Seth with Jenson USA in the Pacific Northwest on a wintry kind of day to show you our top 5 winter riding jackets. So we're in my hometown of Hood River, Oregon, where I like to ride all year long. And as you can see, all year long might mean for some wetter or colder days, and I need something to give me some protection, a little bit of warmth that allows me to keep pedaling. So what we've got here is 5 of our top rated jackets, both by customers and employees, and that carry a feature set that will help you to stay outside on your bike all year long. So first up in our lineup is this jacket from Fox Apparel. And Fox has been putting a really big push on inclement weather gear. They have pants, shorts, jackets, vest, and base layers. Now this one is the FLEXAIR Pro 3L. And basically what this is a really breathable jacket that has some cool feature sets to keep you guarded from water. So if it's raining or like we have here a heavy mist going on, this is going to make sure you're not getting wet and cold from all of that. But it's a relatively thin jacket, so this is good to pair with a good base layer or to just wear on warmer days that happen to also be wet. But it also has some other cool features. So in the pockets here, you actually have perforations inside, so you can open up these zippers to help this thing breathe a little bit. At the wrist cuffs here, you can actually see this kind of cutout here. That actually makes it easier to get your gloves on and off. That's a pretty big feature if you're riding along and just need to like change out gloves or work with your phone or something to look up where you're at on trail forks. Along here you can see we have some reflective materials, and there's a few more accents of that throughout this whole thing. Over here on the chest pocket, you can actually see this is a billowed chest pocket, so it actually puffs out away from the jacket, so as you put things into it, it's not going to push against your chest there. It also has this hood that I'm wearing here, and I purposely left my hood on as well from my sweatshirt. And that's just to show that there's a lot of volume here for your helmet to fit under there. And that's really cool because you can actually cinch these down. So there's a little cinch point here and a pull here that you can kind of crank down on that. Now, beyond that, if you're riding with your hood on and you've got your helmet up there, and you're charging down the hill, you're gonna get a lot of wind. And normally that would mean this is gonna kind of funnel air down into your jacket and cool you off. And that could actually be problematic, right? That could make you cold as you're bombing down the hill. But if you look in the back here, there's this cool vent here that actually has a cover on it. And so what that allows is the air to enter through your hood, around your helmet, and push out, kind of almost like an exhaust out of the back. It does have pull tabs on the waist to kind of cinch things up if you want to keep it tighter. And then it does have this pocket back here where it's actually not a pocket, but a zipper that allows you to get to something like a hip pack. So if you need to store your goos or your extra tools and stuff like that, you can easily get to it without removing the jacket. Now this is primarily focused at being waterproof. It is not all about warmth and that kind of thing. So this is a 3-layer waterproof jacket and great for those rainy day rides when you just need to still get out. As you can see, it's got a great fit. I'm really comfortable in it, lots of freedom. There is stretch in this. And so I'm a big fan of this jacket, and I actually own this one myself. And I own their other version that has some Polartec fleece inside for even colder day rides where I need some heat management. Next up in our lineup is this jacket from 45 North, which by their name are dedicated to kind of winter or inclement riding gear. They make great shoes, other pants, and various gear for keeping you going all year long. Now this is the NAUGHTVInd, which to me just makes me want to say it in a fun accent. I want to be like, NAUGHTVInd. But this jacket is a little more fitted than what we looked at with the Fox. I tend to think this makes for a really good commuter jacket, but it would be great out on these trails as well. It is really comfortable, incredibly flexible, just tons of freedom. So despite it being a slimmer cut on this thing, I do not feel like I'm compromised on movement at all. Kind of like a nice open cuff here, and it actually has some straps here so you can really get your gloves on easily and then snug things down to keep that wind or water from getting in there. You can see we've got these black reflective specs here, as well as some other reflective material in some of the logos going on, and that's incorporated all the way around the jacket. We do have a chest pocket that's really deep, like surprisingly deep, so you could really load that up with stuff if you wanted, and very comfortable. On the inside, we have some fleece material to help with the weather and heat management in there, just to keep you cool while warm. And that's a tricky thing to do in the winter, is to not overheat, but manage all the moisture from your sweat and everything. Now, this is a weather resistant jacket, so if it's dumping out there, this is not going to be the right setup for you. But if you're just dealing with a little bit of weather, a little bit of wind, this is a good option with great thermal capabilities in it. A couple other cool features is actually in the back here. We have some pockets going on in here, so you can tuck your gear into there. There's actually 3 of those pockets. And then there's 2 zippers back here that are vents. And so if you start getting too hot, you can open those up, or you can close them right up if you start getting too cold. So that's kind of a cool way to manage your temperature, because that's really something that can be challenging during the winter, is going from too cold to too hot and back and forth. Now, there's another cool feature on this thing, and that is the way the neck goes. And you can actually see this zipper, it goes kind of asymmetric. And the whole point of that is you can see that it's a nice tall neck, and it's actually specially shaped to kind of give you more coverage while you're down in a riding position. But what you don't want is that zipper sitting right at your throat here, kind of rubbing on you. And so this is kind of a cool design. Just that last little bit kicks over to the side, and that puts the zipper off to the side of your neck and not in a pressure point there. So the NAUGHTVIND's got a ton of cool features. Again, this is probably ideal for people who are kind of in the road and commuting area, but would totally cross over into a mountain bike jacket. So let's check what's next. All right, the next jacket is this Arsenal 3L from DAKINE, a Hood River local. So they know how to deal with cold weather and wet weather. And this one is specifically aimed at wet weather. So this is going to be the Arsenal 3L, and it is just kind of a thin jacket, but definitely focused on breathability and water protection. Now, this has quite a few cool features going on. But before we get into those features, let's talk a little bit about sizing. This jacket probably looks a little bit big on me. I do have a sweatshirt on under this, and that is because this is a size large jacket. The rest of the jackets we've got here have been mediums, and you can see that I generally wear a medium. I'm a pretty stereotypical medium at about 5'9" and change, and about 160, 165 pounds. So this jacket's just a little bit bigger, but if you were in that 6 foot range and a few pounds more, this would probably fit fantastically. So let's dig into the features now. Now, starting off, we'll look at the wrist. We have Velcro straps here and an absolutely enormous opening on the wrist here. So again, this just makes it really easy to get your gloves on or to deal with like the ends of your arm warmers or anything like that. And then you can snug everything up to keep that water, wind, and everything out. Next, this is going to be a water resistant, or actually waterproof material with water resistant zippers. And in the front here, we have a pretty cavernous pocket, not quite as big as the one we just saw, but actually quite big. And then look at these absolutely enormous vents here under the armpits, and they actually go right through. So that's really gonna dump air in and really let you cool off. And you can open them up only a little bit or open them all the way, depending on what you need. Now, we do have a hood to this thing. And like we saw before, this is gonna be a pretty large hood. So you can easily get it over your helmet there. And then in the back, we actually have a pull tab here that will allow you to tighten that up around your helmet. Now, if you've ever worn a DAKINE jacket for snowboarding or skiing or anything like that, you've probably seen something like this before, and it really does just snug up around that helmet and keep things in place. This jacket's incredibly comfortable. It does have a little bit of stretch to it, but not quite what we were seeing with that 45 North, but plenty of movement. I do not feel restricted here. All right, let's see what's next in the lineup. All right, now we're looking at the GIRO HAVOC H2O, and as the name suggests, this is for dealing with water. Again, a fairly thin shell on this jacket, but really focused at keeping the wet outside so that you don't get cold inside. Now, you can layer this with some sort of base layer to beef up the warmth. And there's a couple cool features to go with this one. So like we've seen in a few, we've got Velcro straps here to cinch things up, but still make it easy to get on and off or to add your gloves. Reflective notes here and there. And actually probably one of my favorite features, and one I've actually used on the jackets I ride with, is this Cordura on the lower arms here. And Cordura is just a really tough fabric that's surprisingly flexible. And I've had some good wrecks where I've walked away with my jacket looking pristine, no rips, no scuffs or anything. And it's always been this part of my arm that's kind of hit things, or while you're riding down, you might corner too tight into a tree or something and, you know, kind of brush it against your forearm there. So that's a really cool feature to have. Now you do have two side pockets here. And these are pockets, but they're also ventilation. So if you need to cool things down, you can open those up or close them up to warm things up. Now, being a water jacket, it does have waterproof zippers, so that's very helpful. And some cool reflective stuff going on. So as you open your jacket, you're still gonna see some reflection going on. Overall, this does have a drop hem as well as some pull tabs to tighten up your hem along the bottom here and just keep everything snug. Again, this jacket doesn't really have much in the way of flex. There is a little bit across the back, but it's not quite what we were seeing with that 45 North, but it isn't restricting anything. So you can actually kind of feel it across your back stretching. And that's the one last piece, is there is actually a flap kind of right on the middle of my back here that has two layers of the fabric folded over with a little bit of breathability built in there. And again, this is just to make sure that when you're sweating, you're not just getting all damp, because that will ultimately make you cold. And so breathability is really crucial for a winter jacket like this. All right, let's check out that last jacket. Our last jacket in the lineup is the DAINESE AWA 3L jacket, and AWA stands for all weather activity. Now this jacket is kind of more focused at the commuter side of things, but again, this is going to be perfectly fine out on the trails here. Has a ton of weather protection. It is a shell jacket, again, no insulation. So if you want to go for warmer, you're going to look for a little bit of base layering to go on. But it does have reflective and more durable points on the forearms here and a few other key places. It is actually unique in the jackets we've seen in that it has a zipper as well as snaps. And so that's going to just provide a little bit more protection from the elements. Now inside here is a cool little pocket. This is just a chest pocket for, you know, phones or things like that. But the nice thing about it is that that zipper is kind of hidden away by this flap. Now speaking of inside there, we've got another pocket in here that actually is designed to hold your phone, and it does have a port for headphones. So if you want to ride with a little bit of music, you can make that happen. So that's a cool feature there. A couple other key little things is just how stretchy this one is. It is incredibly flexible, so really easy movement, and that's where you can get kind of a slimmer fit on that and really like it. Two side pockets here that do have ventilation in them. So if you get too warm, you can open those up and let the pockets breathe a little bit. And then a couple of cool features is this does have a hood back here, so you can see that, but it's actually a packable hood. So it packs into the collar of the jacket. And speaking of packable things, again, if we want to look at the back here, we have a flap back here that allows us to create a drop tail. And why would that be important? Well, if you're out riding the trails and there's a puddle or a muddy spot, or you're out on a commute and things are just really wet and you kind of want to keep stuff dry and clean, you can drop that out. And it's kind of a funny looking thing, but what's cool about it is when you're done using it, you can roll it back up and it actually zips in or tucks away into the hem of your jacket. So this jacket can look just like a normal jacket. It actually has pretty good style, and yet you can have these features for when you need them. So this is the DAINESE AWA 3L jacket, and it's a really cool option as well. Now, if you have any questions about these, we're always here to answer your questions, but we'd love to hear from you what jackets we may have missed in this lineup and why you love them. So let us know in the comments what jackets you're absolutely amped on and keep you pedaling throughout the seasons. So as always, thanks for watching and keep pedaling.